My screen is visible and I'm audible too. So yesterday we just had a brief kind of walkthrough of Tableau, what it can do, and we just tried playing around with some of the basic reports. Right? From today on, we'll start with step-by-step process of walking through Tableau journey. So some of the topics we're going to cover is we'll just again start with visual analytics. So basically, we're going to focus on how to create good-looking, efficient, and utility visualization from with Tableau. So we'll see various Tableau options such as how to sort data, what are group sets, how you drill down hierarchies, and those kind of things. Okay. So these are basically unique Tableau features, so which are very essential in your pocket before you start creating complex visualizations in Tableau. Okay, so today we are going to discuss basically these points first, which include what are marks, how we can change mark types, aggregations, how to build a view, and some level of highlighting, and level of details, and what is show me. So these are basically some of the Tableau jargons which we are going to discuss today as part of getting started. So what we're going to do is we will be using Tableau Public for most of the Tableau desktop version because that's kind of publicly free. It has all the features except data connections, which we are going to discuss anyway. So except data connection, all the features of Tableau are available freely on the Tableau Public, which can be used. So it will give you an idea of how you can use Tableau Public as well, along with this. Okay. So like I said last time, you can go to Tableau Public website and download the app, which is kind of downloading the. So you can just click on download the app, it downloads and you can install it. It's a very simple installation. So once you install, you'll get something like this, Tableau Public 9.0. So this is the app, you just double click and open it. It's very similar to your Tableau desktop app. Okay, if you are having a trial going on, you can use this also, Tableau 9.0. So there's just no public here. Tableau 9.0 is Tableau Professional Desktop Edition. The major difference between the two is that desktop is basically the full version, which is paid one after 14-day trial. Public is kind of open to public. It's free. You cannot play with very large data set, and your sources can be accepted. So that's the only limitation, but that's not limitation for learning. Okay, so we'll go ahead with that. The other thing is all the data which you kind of save, it has to be saved publicly on your site. So it will ask you to create a profile, okay, and then on that profile you could save all your workbooks which you created. So that should be again fine, right? Because we are not creating any sensitive or security data sets. So it's all learning, so that should be fine. Okay. So let's try to connect to a data source. You guys are able to see my screen, right? I'm audible because I didn't hear anything from anybody. So just want to check once again.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So let's click on Excel. Okay. You go back to our Excel screen. So I'm just browsing my Excel. So this Excel I will provide you with the material. Okay. So let's start with Superstore Excel. Click on Open. So you're saying there is some error. Okay, you can say show details. So basically, there is a field called number of records, and it's already defined. Okay, so Tableau automatically creates a measure for every workbook, which is called number of records. And if your data set already have a field called number of records, then you just give that error. Okay, but we could ignore that because that's fine. Okay, so let it be. That's fine. So I will say okay. So as soon as your data comes in, so this is one of the basic way of getting data into Tableau, right? We have used an Excel where you just browse for the Excel, and that's what it comes like. Okay. So if your Excel has multiple sheets, they will be coming at sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, something like that. This particular Excel just has one sheet, so it comes like this. Okay. So, and this is same with tables. So if you connect to a Oracle data source, you will get multiple tables here instead of multiple sheets. Right? And then you can drag those sheets to this pane and decide what you need to do. Okay, you can join them and all. So we'll see that. That's not part of this discussion. So we are just fine with one sheet. Okay, once you get the sheet, you get all the columns here. You can just look at the data. If you found something different, then you can just have a look at it. So it all looks fine. You can go to sheet 1, back to basically worksheet, which is pointing here. Okay. And you can see now we got the same screen which I was showing you yesterday. Right? So all the columns are organized into dimensions and measures for that particular data set. So this data is now Excel, pointing to Excel. So I can just right click and again say edit data source. So it will go back to the data source, photo data source. You can rename this. I can just make it Superstore. Okay. And again, I will go back to sheet. So connecting to data source is very simple, okay, like I told you earlier. So once you have data, then you can just start on this window. This window is the most important window when working with Tableau. So our first point here is we are going to learn something more about marks. Okay, what are marks in Tableau? So if I just double click on sales, what happens? Tableau does a default aggregation on sales, right? It shows me the direct sum of sales for all the records out there, which is this. But it doesn't make sense. Right? So you really want to see sales based on some context, which are basically dimensions. Right? So let's see sales by date. Right? So I can just take order date and drag it into columns. So it's showing me clearly sales over years. Right? That on turn 11, what was the sales, and 12, 13, and 14, right? And it's a good point that our sales are increasing steadily. Now, as you build this graph, one thing you have noticed is the marks types here is automatic, right? You can change it to whatever you want. Okay. So Tableau has spent a lot of time in suggesting people what's best for them. Okay, this is something like again a very unique feature. Okay, so they're really trying hard to get people aligned to best practices of BI, business intelligence. Okay, so they could have asked you to suggest, right, that what type of graph or mark should be used in this case. Okay, but you can say this is appropriate mark for this case because you're trying to see, you are trying to see a trend in your sales over years or over time, right? Then line graph is the best one. So this mark is automatically suggested by Tableau based on what you drag and drop. So that's why this automatic comes in front of mark, but there is no stopping you. You could always change that if you don't feel what Tableau does is correct. Okay, so I can click on here and I can change the marks to bar. You can see the mark is changed to bar, or I can change this to circles. So, or I can change this to shapes. Okay, sometimes it doesn't make that much difference. Okay, but or something like area. Okay. So all those things are very easy to change. Okay. So if you don't feel comfortable with what's provided, or you could always choose automatic. So let me sign in. I will open that workbook. So you first of all go ahead and create a profile in Tableau Public. Okay. So that you can view my credentials. What happened? Caps lock is on. Okay. Let me check it later. So these marks can be changed from here very easily. Okay. So now let's try to do something different. Okay. So I'm going to clear this sheet. Okay. I'm going to select sales and anything. Let's say sales versus shipping cost. Okay. And so you just click whatever fields you want. So I just created these two. Okay. And then go to show me. Okay, I'm showing you one other way. So show me is again Tableau's effort to provide you with best visualization based on your needs. So when you create these two measures, the one he suggested is you can see the highlighted one, which is the scatter plot. Okay. So if I just select region, okay, he's showing me just the cost tab. You can see this is the one which is suitable for this particular thing. Okay. If I select again a discount, now it converted to bar graph. Okay. So show me is again one good way to start with if you want something to report on. Okay, so if you're not sure, right, you know that okay, I want to analyze my data based on region and discount. Okay, but you're not sure whether I should get a bar graph or I should use a line graph or what kind of report I should build upon. Okay. So in that case, you just click on all your columns you want to see, and then automatically Tableau will suggest a visualization for you. Okay. And then you can choose that. Okay. So again, we'll go back to our sales versus shipping cost, and you just click on this. So automatically it plots a scatter plot for you. Again, you can see the mark is basically automatic. He has given some automatic shapes to it. So we saw two ways of creating default visualizations, right? One is you just go on and double click on your fields. Okay, so like I click on sales, double click, then you click on region, so automatically creates a bar graph for you. That's one way, right? Other way is you just select whatever fields you want and then you go to show me, and it will give you the default visualization. Okay, so these are the first two ways of getting started with your report. So don't spend time on getting started. So let's start with the default Tableau, and if you want to change it, you can always change it. There is no problem. Okay, but most of the cases I found out is this most of the times these default ones are really good. Okay, like now most of the testing cases you notice that these are the best one which Tableau gives. Okay. So when we just click on sales and shipping cost, he suggested a scatter plot. Okay. So what is exactly a scatter plot? Scatter plot is nothing but a plot which is scattered. Okay, and it is suitable for when you have measures on both the axes. Okay, like you might have noticed that when I just select sales and shipping cost, there is no dimension here, right? Both are measured. So in that case, he usually plot a scatter plot. So it's kind of when you want to compare two measures. Okay, then the scatter plot is important. So I have some more theory for scatter plot here for interviews and all. Go ahead and read later on. So it's best when you want to see the intersection between measures. Okay, the sales versus shipping cost. So you might have noticed here that this graph in itself doesn't make sense, right? It just gives me a one mark. Okay, I just got one mark here, which says that total sales is this and total shipping cost is this. Okay. So as always, measures in itself doesn't make sense, right? Unless you cross verify it with dimension or unless you see it in context of dimension. So when I just have got one mark, right? So why this happened? Because Tableau did the default aggregation. Okay. So that's why both of them got aggregated, and that's why you just got one mark. If you don't want aggregation, you want to see each and every intersection. Okay. So basically, if I want to see how many records I have, if you can just take a number of records here and drag. So we have 15,290 records in this data set. Okay. The number of records is basically the auto-generated measure by default in all the workbooks. So if you just double click on this, you will see how many records are there in your data source. So they are basically 15 to 90. So all this total number of records, it got aggregated, and that's what you got one mark here, right? So okay, but there's an option in scatterplot to disable this aggregation and to see each and every mark. Okay. So if you go to analysis, you can see there is an aggregate measure here. You could just uncheck that. Okay. Now you got basically mark for each and everything. Okay. So basically there is a row, there is a mark here for each row. So this is the one which is the highest sales of shipping cost. Okay. So that's why scatter plots are important. They help you find out outliers or abnormalities in your data, right? Or the one which are standing apart. So you can see these ranges. These are basically where the sales and shipping costs are kind of low, right? But these are something high. So this one is kind of worrying about, right? So this particular occurrence, what happened here is the sales was kind of high, but shipping cost was very low. So these are the something which you want to look upon, right? So we want all these marks to be on this range. So if everyone has low shipping cost and high sales, then they are favorable one, right? So this is where scatter plot is important. It helps you find out outliers, or it helps you find out intersection between the two measures. Okay. So I think you got a hang of what scatter plot can do. It will help you find out kind of interesting things in your data which is not visible. Okay. So if I just do a right click view data, okay, this will not make any sense, right? I cannot find this information with this. But if I plot this like this, now I'm able to basically see sales versus shipping cost, right? So these are the occurrences where I got shipping cost reduced, something like that. Okay. And here, this is the one which has very high sales and shipping cost as well. Okay. So as you go right, the shipping costs are increasing. So we want somewhere kind of balanced, right? Something like that. So I go back to analysis and I will just disable aggregate measure back. Okay, so I got one mark. So you can see as we go down, the number of marks on the graph get increased automatically, right? So as the aggregation happens, you just have one mark here. So now let's drill more down into report, okay, and add some more dimensions. So let's say I want to see the sales or the shipping cost based on region. Okay, so I can take region and I will drag on the colors mark. Let's see what happens. So you can see now the number of marks have increased, right? Because we are going down and segregating it by region now. Now the region is one more dimension which is added in the colors tab. Okay. So as soon as you add region, you get a legend here saying that all the regions out here. Right? So again in the region central you have the highest sales and shipping cost. Right? The lowest one is there in the region Canada. Okay, sales and shipping cost. So this is something which catapults tells you very easily, right? You can just basically, they are called uh, anomalies or outliers in your data. So I can add one more. Okay, I can say region and segment. So I can say segment on the shape. You can say you got data, something like that. So now there is a mark for regions and segment. Okay. So as you'll add dimension, the number of marks on your screen will change. Okay. So this marks helps you create um, multiple marks on the data visualization screen. Okay. So that way the visualization can be easily understood and make sense. Okay. Um, One more interesting feature here is the highlighting. Okay. Once you add marks, you can start or stop highlighting. Okay. So you can see this is the button here, highlight selected items. So you can uncheck it or you can check it. Okay. So if you click on Africa, what happens? It's just showing me Africa highlighted and all other goes into background. Okay. So it's very useful. So it's not like filtering, but uh, it gives you interactiveness in your data visualization, right? So I can just see the Africa ones. So Africa and home office, this is the sales versus shipping cost, something like that. Okay. Now if I click on consumer, nothing is happening. Why? Because this is not turned on. So you just have to click here, highlight selected items. Okay. Now you can see consumers are highlighted or only just the corporate are highlighted. Now, if you want to increase the size of the shapes, you can just click on the size and you can just increase it here. Okay. So I can make it more bigger, something like that. So it goes bigger. Okay. So slowly you will get hang of the formatting. There are a lot of formatting options here. You can really beautify your reports to whatever extent you want. Okay. So we'll see those options slow as we progress. Okay. So that's what marks do to the reports. Okay. So you can use marks to really get a better sense of how Tableau works. Okay. So let's try to create something else and try to explore the marks again to give you a second round of discussion on what we discussed here. So I think this much is clear. We discussed about how the marks works, what are the automatic marks, right? And what happens when you create a scatter plot. So it aggregate measures, you can disable the aggregations, how to highlight and all that. So anything, anybody wants some clarification? I'll just stop for a minute here.
Upendra, Harish here.
Yeah.
Can you add n number of dimension and measures to all your different kinds of marks on a same report?
Yeah, you can add as many you want. So I can add a state here also if I want. On the, if you add on a color, add all members. Okay. It will going to get replaced. Okay. So you can have a mark per this color or size because it doesn't make sense, right? Because they both will compete with each other. Okay. So one more thing is if you don't want these marks to use, but you want to go into the detail of the report, what you could do is you can add it something here. Okay, you're not adding on any of the marks, but you're just keeping it here, something like that. Sorry, not state. I will add one more else, like a product name. Just okay. So now you can see number of marks are increased. Okay, but they're not belonging to any color, size, shape, or something like that. Okay, so they are like it just gives you an ability to drill down more to create more marks on the plot. Okay. But you can have any number of dimensions here. That's right. But a color can have only one dimension. That's right. If you drag region
So
now,
is it just going to be the color, or it's going to be size, or any? All those marks will have only one attribute added to it. That's what you mean to say?
yes, right. Because if you have, let's say, you want region and product name with the color, then it will confuse, right? Which color is what, something like that. So, okay, so let's start fresh and again try to look with these marks again, because this is like kind of a starting point. So, okay, I'm just going to. Okay. So I want to see by, let's say, by state. Let's try to see sales. Okay. I will go to show me and I will see he's suggesting me a map, right? Why? Because I have a geographical attribute selected. So that's the best one. So you can see the automatic mark type here. What he suggested is circle. Okay. So what else he's did automatically is the state is added to the detail, like I told you. Basically, it's just added here, which means that it's in the level of detail. Okay. He's So if nothing is available, it means it's a detail one here, the detail mark. So I'm just going to show it again. I'm going to go straight outside. Okay, so the state. Okay, so I'm just tracking into detail. Okay, so there is no symbol here. It means it's a detail mark. Okay, what detail means is you're just going a level down to detail. Nothing else. Okay, and one more thing is sum of sales is dragged to the size. Okay, this size one. So okay, so see, all these things are automatically done when you selected these two. Okay, and selected show me. Okay, so if you really want to do this on your own, we'll just give it a try. Okay, so just I'm just going to clear again. So click on state. It got all the state, and now I want to see sales. Okay. Now, how you want to see sales? Sales I want to see by size. So I just click on the size. Okay. So what the size means? Size means that the biggest one will be have larger circle, right? Basically the size. So you can see this one, the California seems to have highest sale, something like that, right? So the size of bubble dictates the amount there, which is the highest one. So the marks let you kind of visualize data in a better way. Okay. So if you don't want size, you're not comfortable with size, what you can do is I will just take this sales and I will drag it on the color. Okay. Now you can see color is used to show you which is the highest or lowest sale. Okay. Now you can see the dark green ones is definitely the highest. Okay. So that's what pictorial representation does to your reports. So like human eye can depict this very easy, right? Because a human brain works in such a way that if you show this color combination, I can easily find out which are the region which are giving me the highest sale and the region which are giving me the lowest sales. Okay, something like that. So if I drag sales into just text, what happens? What I got? I just got uh, details of the text of sales in each and everything, something like that. But nobody is stopping me and taking sales and dragging to color. Okay, so I got both. I got color plus text. Okay, so this is basically what you want, right? This is the best visualization, which shows that in each state what are your sales, right? So you get a picture of saying, okay, the lighter greens one are lowest sales and what are the sales there. So that's how marks help you in creating data visualizations. Okay. So dragging your measures to marks helps you see the variations by color or by size, okay, or by detail or something like that. So we discussed what is color, we saw what is size, right? We saw text, we saw detail, and we didn't saw tooltip yet. Okay. So tooltip is very simple. So let's say for this particular combination, I want to also see how much discount I got. So I can just drag discount to the tooltip. Okay. So what happens is when you click on here, okay, you can see you're able to see discount also here. So tooltip is something like it's not on the graph, but when you click on a particular mark, you can see in the hover window the pop-up which comes. Okay, discount is 62%. So you can add more other things also. I can add shipping cost. I can add profit. Okay, so they are here, but they will not be on the reports directly visible. But when you hover on a particular mark, you see all of them: profit, sales, shipping cost, all those kind of things. So that's what marks does. Okay. Now let's try to create one more report just to again see how the mark and everything works. Okay. So let's say I want to see analyze shipping cost by order priority. Okay. So I just click on two. Let's go to show me, see what he suggests. Okay. So he's suggesting a bar graph. So let's go with it. Okay. So you can see the automatic mark is automatically bar graph here. Okay. You can change it to whatever you want. I can change it to line. Okay, but it doesn't making any sense, right? Definitely it doesn't make any sense. So let's go back to automatic bar graph. Okay. Like we said yesterday, you can change. These are the horizontal bars. You can make them vertical. Okay, you can swap them. So this is basically vertical bars now. So it's just showing me based on order priority what is my shipping cost. Okay, so I think the highest ones are medium order priority, right? When the order priority is medium, my total shipping cost is the top one. Now I want to break this down. Okay, so in each order priority, I want to see by market how I'm doing. Okay, so basically I'm adding one more dimension to the picture, right? So now you have all these mark type choices to go with when you want to drill down more with one more dimension. Okay, so I can just select market and let's start with first tooltip. So when you add a tooltip like we saw, nothing. So if you in this case it doesn't make any sense. That's why it's showing you star. Right? The market is star because in this case there might be multiple markets, right? So he doesn't know what to show here. That's why it's showing you star. Okay. So that was a bad choice. So I will start with color. Sorry. I'm going to drag this. I'm going to take market and I'm going to drag to color. Okay. Okay. So what it did, he automatically converted this to stacked graph. Okay, stacked bar graph. So each bar shows the total shipping cost for an order priority, and this color combination shows you how much is for a particular region in that, right? So basically, if you can see for order priority medium, the highest one is in the region of APAC, right? Asia Pacific. In the Asia Pacific, you got the highest shipping cost, something like that. Okay. So again here, if you want to only see APAC, you can click on APAC and it will just highlight you APAC. Right? So it looks like high and medium order priority have highest shipping cost in Asia Pacific region, right? Something like that. So color is very clear, right? So color lets you see variation in the color and just create legends automatically for you on the left hand side, which can use for highlighting and all. Now if I just drag this to size, what happens? It's going to show me by size. Okay. So in this case, what it did is uh, the graph will remain same, but the for APAC, it's like kind of shipping cost is this. So I just created a small size one, right? So for US, highlighting. These are the US ones. These are the LATAM, EU, something like that. So he's trying to distinguish between various markets based on sizes. Okay. So in this case, size is not a good choice. It's clearly visible, right? Because size shouldn't be used to differentiate between these particular market types. So if I just drag this on, so let's drag it out, take market on text. Okay. So now here what is showing me? He's showing me that text. Okay, this much is APAC, Africa, what's the profit? And the shipping cost is already there. If you don't want anything like this, I can just tag it to detail. Okay. So he just added to detail, but it's not showing anything. He just added a line to tell me, okay, this much to this much is APAC, something like that. Okay. So that's how the marks behave. You can use them to drill more down into your reports, okay, and create whatever you want. And these are the only mark types to worry about. There are nothing more here, okay. This is what you can utilize, and you can create very much complex reports or analytics out of your Tableau desktop. Okay. So this is very different approach to creating reports if you are coming from a traditional reporting tool background. Okay, but this works very efficiently with analytics. So as we'll see, we'll create a lot of complex reports based on this background. Okay, I will again stop for some more time if you have any clarification. No. So okay, I hope this is okay, this is making sense. Please feel free to ask, okay, if something is out of ordinary. Okay. So this is what we discussed today. So we discussed about working with mark. We changed mark types, right? We saw an aggregation option with scatter plot. You can disable the aggregation if you want. We build a view, right? And then we saw highlighting, and then we got into a level of detail, and then we used show me, right? That's what we did. So everything relevant to this is here. You have that Excel sheet if you want. Okay. There is a workbook also here, and whatever I discussed, there is a transcript here. Okay, so this is like basically from Tableau's website somewhere. So you could go back and read this, whatever we have discussed. So it will give you a kind of a revision thing. Okay, and there is something like how to use an automatic show me, like what I told you, but once I'm not around, this would be helpful for you. Okay. So what you're going to do is I have whatever examples we are doing here, they are all on a Tableau public. Okay. So one thing you have to understand is with Tableau public, everything, all the worksheets you open, they have to be on public, or basically they should be on the public website. Then only you can open it with Tableau public. Okay. So you cannot open a report created in desktop with Tableau public. That's the only limitation. But in our cases, I have all the I will upload all the workbooks on the public, so you can also download and use them, okay, as we go. So opening a sheet from is very simple. You go on website and you download it, okay, locally, and then you can open it with public. Or for your own profile, what you can do is you can say open from Tableau public. It will ask you for your sign in. So this is exactly same as server. Okay. So Tableau public and server are same. Only difference is server is within your company and public is basically public to whole world. Something like that. So it's connecting to my profile and it will show me all the reports or workbooks which I have published. Okay. And you can choose from whatever you want. You can save it and play around with it. This is slow. Okay. I hope it's not my internet. It shouldn't be actually because I have around 10 Mbps. So it's taking some time. Let it. Okay. Yes. So what we'll do is we'll create a kind of a space on Google Drive or Dropbox, whatever you're comfortable. And I would just add all the material there. Okay. So we'll keep on adding. If something new is added, I will just add it there. So that way you could have it beforehand also, and after the class also you can refer. That would work, right? What you guys are comfortable with, Dropbox or Google Drive is fine, no? Okay. I will use Dropbox most. Okay. By the time it's working, this is the worksheet. Getting started in Visual Analytics. So it has all the examples which we discussed today. So you could go back and play with it. So there is something like this is for working with marks, building the view, highlighting, show me. There are some of the examples. This has basically the exercise workbook. So you are supposed to drag and drop and do the exercise. Okay. Okay, so moving ahead, we'll go to the second point, which is build down a hierarchy. So I discussed a bit about hierarchies in our last session also, right? I give a brief. So hierarchies are very important when you want to go down and see, right, how your data is doing. So you start on a layer top, and then you want to go drill down, down, down to the lowest level. That's why hierarchies are very important. So hierarchies are not clearly visible in our relational data, right? Because but the relationship is there, so you could exploit that and create reports. So if you have worked with any one of the OLAP data sources like cubes, right? Okay, their hierarchy is there in the data itself. But in our normal databases like Oracle, which are relational databases like DB2, right? So hierarchy is not that evident. It's there. There is a relationship between the dimensions, but it's not part of the technical metadata. Okay, it's basically it's there. You can exploit it. But the multi-dimensional data sources like OLAP, cubes, and all, hierarchy is something which is inherent to their nature. Okay, so Tableau gives a very easy feature of playing with hierarchies. I think I got some problem with my profile. Okay, I will rectify that. So hierarchy gives an option to play around with your data, right? and helps you drill down and drill upon whatever we are focusing on. Okay. So creating a hierarchy is very simple. So I could create a hierarchy called product. Okay. So which will have a category. So inside category, I should have a subcategory, right? So just click on category and go up, yeah, and put it on category here. So it will ask you what name of the hierarchy you should give. I will call it as product. So you can see now the symbol changes. It has now a hierarchy symbol, right? So category will have many subcategories, which will have many products, right? So I will have a product name. I will ask you where you want to put your product name in the hierarchy. I want it after subcategory, right? Okay. That's how our category, our hierarchy is ready. That's it what you want to do in your data, okay, to create a hierarchy in Tableau. Now we are set to start. Now again, I can click on product name and I want to see quantity sold. Okay. Go to show me, it's suggesting me a bar graph. So I'll click on this. Okay. So instead of product name, let's try to put the whole product category here. Okay. So you can see as soon as you put a hierarchy here, you get a plus symbol, right? Which allows you to drill down into your category, something like that. So I can just say plus here. I got this category, they have these subcategories which has this number of quantities sold, right? And I can go to one more detail, which is basically into product name. Now you can see you could use this minus also to go a level up. So I can use a minus sign. Now I just have category, subcategory, and I can just click on this. Now I came back to the same level of category. So this is one level of drilling up and drilling down using hierarchies. Right? It's very simple. It's very much in nature of reporting and analytics. We always traverse to hierarchies and see how our data is doing. Okay. So because I want to go at the level of categories, I want to see, okay, how much is the quantity sold at the furniture, office supply, or technology level. Now I want to go level down. Okay, so I can click on the plus. So okay, in furniture, these are the subcategories of the product which has this much number of quantity sold. And if you want to analyze one more, I can click again down. Okay. So this is something which is, I think, a bit simple. We discussed yesterday also. There is one more simple way of kind of looking at the data. Okay, this is like we call it raw way of looking at your data set. Okay. So one option is you can always click on here and say view data, which shows you kind of whole data out there in your data set. Okay, this has no sense, right? But if you want, you could use this. Second option is like you want to see this furniture, you want to see what's data out there, kind of data behind this. So you can always right click, okay, and say view data, or you click on this mark, okay, you get a symbol here, view data. So it's showing that furniture, this is the quantity, okay. And how this is derived, you can always go to underline. You can see the right side here, underline. Okay. So you can see for the category furniture, these were the records which were summed up, and you got that count, right? The total quantity. So this was the underlying record which was summed up. So it's very easy in Tableau to look at all this kind of data behind the scene. Okay, this is another way of drilling down actually, right? Because this view shows us, okay, for furniture, the total quantity sold is this much, but you want to see how this was derived, right? You want to see data behind this. You want to see the underlying data. So you could always click on the mark, click on the view data here. It shows you the first what's data used to generate this mark, and you can always go to underline and see. Okay, so these were the records which were aggregated for you to give you that particular result. This is again a further way of drilling down into the report. Okay, so basically this is what we call it, seeing data behind the scene. Okay, perfect. The other hierarchies which we discussed yesterday as well in the dates. Okay, so Tableau automatically give you hierarchies by date. So the example we saw, we want to see shipping cost by order date. Right? So if I double click on them and I say anything, let's say shipping cost, and I used the mark type is this, I want to change it to line, right? Okay, so you can see automatically he aggregated to year and showed me, and there's a plus symbol. So for date, there is nothing like hierarchy symbol here. Why? Because dates are inherent Tableau hierarchies. Tableau maintain hierarchy for them on its own. So I can always go back to years, quarters, month, and date, something like that. Is that simple? So it's just showing me for every month and every day what's out there. So hierarchies is in date is Tableau inbuilt feature. Okay, so it's very useful. Everybody do analytics based on time, right? That's why they added this feature so that it become easy for users to use date and time with Tableau. Sometimes we don't want to use hierarchy. We don't want people to drill and drill down. Okay, so let's say I created something on subcategory and profit. Okay, so as soon as you put a hierarchical column, it will show that plus and minus symbol. Okay, but you don't want user to go down. Okay, you want to have hierarchy, but you still want a report wherein you don't want people to have the drill down capability with subcategory. Okay, so how we can do that? Because as soon as I now put subcategory, it will show me this symbol. Okay, for drill down. So basically, we need to do a small hack for that. Okay, what I have to do is I have to duplicate this field. So I can say right click and duplicate. Okay, so you can see there is a copy now. So I can just rename this, and I will say, let's say, no drill. Oh, sorry, no drill. So I just created the copy of the same field, right? Because I don't want drilling capability for that particular field. That's it. So I can now replace this with no drill. So you can see there is now no drilling capability here, right? Something like that. So that's how hierarchies work. Okay. If you don't want hierarchy for a column, you can always duplicate any column. Okay. So if you want to rename a column, you just duplicate and you just have a new name for it. That's how that is work. We're going to see this in more detail, how to create calculated field and how to do calculations and all in this section. But creating a duplicate field is very simple. You just right click, duplicate, and give name whatever you want. Okay. So now the subcategory is there, but this is not part of hierarchy. So if you want to create a report which is just subcategory and you don't want any drill down, so just duplicate that. Okay. Because as soon as you add a column from a hierarchy, it will have the drilling capability. So if you want to just suppress that, just create a new field for it. Just kind of a small hack. Okay, so we discussed a lot of things today. Let's stop here. So you can go back today and just try to play around with these things what we discussed. If you have any doubts, we could always discuss that in the next session. Any doubts?
No doubts, but where can we download this material? You said you'll have it on the Dropbox or Google Drive? You send the link?
Yeah. Yeah. Just ping me your email IDs. I will just draft an email and send it to you. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So, is this space fine? Or is getting too slow or too fast? Just let me know. I will vary it accordingly. Follow it, right? So you can sort data.